أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the universe, the Master of the Day of Judgment. I bear witness and testimony to the oneness of Allah, to His magnificence, His omnipotence, His might, His glory, to His being the creator and sustainer of all things, the giver of life, the guider of hearts, the master of the Day of Judgment. And I bear witness to the fact that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His servant and final messenger. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and upon all those who choose to tread in his path until the last day. It is said that in the month of Ramadan, of the du'as that the Prophet ﷺ would regularly make, ones that he would recommend to those who are near and dear to his heart, the likes of his wife radiallahu ta'ala anha, to make in anticipation of the night of destiny, the night of power, Laylatul Qadr. May Allah make us from amongst those who witness and benefit from it. Is a dua that likely some of you, if not all of you, have heard in some time in your life. Allahumma innaka afu, that, oh Allah, you are al-afu, the one who forgives. Tuhibbul afwa, you love to forgive. Fa'fu anni, so forgive me. The Arabic language is very nuanced and there's a lot of depth to it. There's so many different ways that forgiveness is expressed within Arabic as a language. For example, when we call upon Allah asking for His maghfirah, His forgiveness, the word ghafara is very similar in Arabic to satara, to cover. Like your satar is the part of your body that you cover, your awrah. The sutra is what you place in front of you when you pray. The hadith says, even if it's a blade of grass, so that when someone walks in front of you, there's a barricade between you and them. So ghafara is covering, in the sense of forgiveness. The way your satar, your sutra covers you. You're saying, Ya Allah, cover my sins. Afa yafu means to erase in Arabic. And when you ask Allah as al-afu, you're asking Him to erase from the records of anything that bore witness to what you did, that they could no longer testify that that was something that was done. Can we have everyone just come close? If you can move in as close as possible, the room's going to get pretty filled. So if there's any carpet area in front of you, we'd appreciate it. When you start to think about this in the standpoint of a heart that has observed Ramadan for now more than a week's time, may Allah accept from us all of our actions thus far and allow for us to be from amongst those who benefit from all that it is that we have taken and what lies ahead. The notion of wakefulness that is rooted in the fast, the wakefulness from the recitation, the listening to, the hearing of the Quran, even just being in Ramadan itself creates awareness, because the idea is not that you can be conscious of not eating food without being conscious. It is something that even at its most limited entry point, there is an air of presence that wasn't there before. The mode now is to not just let it be something that is arbitrarily engaged without structure, but for you and I in the stage of life that we're in right now, extrapolating from this dua that a lot of us will likely make again and again and again, to think about what it is that it's really calling us towards and what is it that it's really seeking to give us in terms of insight. Allahumma innaka afuun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. That, oh Allah, you are the one that forgives, you love to forgive, so forgive us. Means that there's going to be, consequently, A day where we stand in relation to the actions we've undertaken in this world. The choices that you make, the decisions that you decide upon. This isn't it. It's a means to something. This is what Islamic theology posits, and you don't have to believe in it for it to be true, but this month is a good month to start thinking about what lies ahead in that sense. The erasure of acts is something that we can draw upon, because whether I want to or not, certain things are going to testify to what I did in this worldly frame of existence. The very earth that you tread upon is going to say what you did upon it. You can't think about this now only in a frame of negative, but also in a frame of positive. Last night we prayed Maghrib, and after we were done praying all together, two of the brothers that were standing behind me, one grabbed the other by the shoulder and moved him to the other side. He's trying to pray his sunnah prayers in a different place than he prayed his fard. They do that because the place you pray on is going to testify you prayed on it. So you're trying to maximize on the number of pieces of land that are going to say, this servant of yours prostrated upon me. But also all the places where you committed atrocious acts of verbal abuse. You had children take in adult emotions that their child heart should never have heard. Yelled at an elder, broke somebody inwardly, purposely, gossiped, lied, cheated, backbit. That earth is going to say what you did upon it. You want to riddle the earth filled with pieces of land that are going to say, this person wasn't seated, they were standing, helping others in their time of need. They were in a place where so many different plots of land could formulate an entire nation of testification of good deeds that came from the actions of this individual. But the earth is going to say what you did upon it. And may Allah make us those who the earth bears witness in our favor and not against us. The very limbs that you have, they are going to speak on the day of judgment. The hands, the tongues, the eyes, the ears, both in the form of what you use them for, but also what they were privy to. And you think about this in a few different frames, because whether or not you acknowledge it, people's ears will hear what it was that you said to them. They will hear and say that this is what this person spoke ill of behind that person's back. You don't have to believe it for it to be true, but it's for our best interest that we say that there's truth in it. The eyes will say what they saw. The hands will say what they touched. The tongue will speak about every word that it uttered on that day. The opportunity to understand also that when it speaks of inaction, that why was I silent when I had the ability to speak? Why did I not express positivity in the moments that I could? The feet will say where they walked to. The stomach will say that it ate to this extent even after it was full, not caring that nobody else had anything, just so I could get mine. Every time that you have yelled at somebody, every time that you have lost control, even if it's because you are hurt, you are still responsible for the emotions that you have. The body is going to tell what and how it was used for. And in that same mode of understanding it from the perspective of goodness, you want to have hands that testify that I extended hands to others, regardless of whether they shared race or culture with me, and gave salams to everybody, not conditionally. That I was a part of a process where I served food to those that were in need. I spoke good words to those who were parents sitting in a hospital wondering as to whether or not their child was going to survive. I was in a place where my ears heard people express gratitude for me, because I wasn't just being served food, I was serving the food. Think for a moment, on this Mubarak day of Jumu'ah, what will the earth say you did on it when you stand on that day? How is your body going to speak on your behalf? What are the things that you did with it that honor the rights that this being has over you? Upon your shoulders are angels. Inna alaykum lahafidhin. Guardians. On each one. They're seeing what's going on. Kiraman katibin, the verse says, elevated, noble in writing. So the books that they're writing in, they bear witness to the acts. You think about it in the mode now of a third prism. That's not just about khayr, what is good, or shar, what is not good, but lahu, what is futile. Then what will my books say in terms of me not really doing anything in this world? Then when the Quran posits to us an idea of our own gain from a recognition of other worlds of existence, and it says definitively, there will be questions when your book is presented, that when you were asked on that day, what did you even do? There's nothing written here. How long did you live in that world? And some of us will claim that maybe we were there just for a day or so, because that's what the pages are going to read like. Kiraman katibin, these two angels upon you, the books that they're writing, just think for yourself, within yourself. It's not self-deprecation, just reflection. What is it going to be filled with? Maybe everybody move up again. If you can come in close, I can see gaps in front of you, but there's people that are starting to get kind of crammed in the back. So if we can just move in, we'd appreciate it. Allahumma innaka afuwan kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. The Quran itself, the hadith says that it is a proof for us or a proof against us. May Allah make it a proof on our behalf, in our favor. The notion is to actualize its teachings, to be the doers of its words, not just the ones who say it outwardly but have no impact inwardly. All of this is attached to a notion embedded in this dua that the Prophet is telling his beloved wife, that when they ask who is so much beloved to you, he says that it is her, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, that when you are seeking out the night of power, make this dua. It's not just about rote, regurgitated words, but thinking, what is it calling me upon? And if I'm not aware of the things that are going to testify on that day of judgment, it doesn't mean that they won't testify. We all have a natural ending to our existence in this world. May Allah make the best of our deeds the last of our deeds. But this is the world of choices, of exertion, of action. I don't want a book that is empty. Even if I had a book of misdeeds, I believe in a God who has taught us through his messenger that if we were a people who did everything right, he would get rid of us so he would have a people that he could forgive. Where in the pages is a recognition of the spiritual vehicle that is tawbah. You can't have growth if there's nothing to improve upon. I don't want to have a book that is empty, that seemingly I've stood for days and weeks into an entire month praying with a body, but my heart was not in the prayer. I spent the crux of my day walking on eggshells with trepidation, thinking religion is about sizing up somebody else's practice, rather than looking at it back within myself and saying to myself, what am I really doing with the time I have in this world? Allahumma innaka afu, Ya Allah, you are the one who erases through your forgiveness. Tuhibbul afwa, you love to forgive in this way. Fa'fu anni, so erase from my records so that I can stand in front of you just as best as I can. Going into a week of Ramadan, it's going to be varied what the experiences are. Where and how we have individual realities that shape what the month looks like for us. But a collective that we can understand and is imperative to think about are the foundational theologies that this religion is based upon. Man kana yu'minu billahi wa bil yawm al-akhir is a construct found in numerous hadith, and you can go through the pages of that mushaf again and again and again, and you will be hard-pressed to find a page that does not mention the world beyond this one. And so here, you reflect on this reality. What am I doing that has an awareness, with positivity, with a sense of hope, to get done what it is that I have the ability to, not out of convenience or whether I want to or not, but the fulfillment of real needs? Where do I sit and reflect in that way and embrace the beauty of wisdom that is given to me even when I don't want to hear it? If you can think about what it would look like on that day of judgment, may Allah grant us ease. What are the things that will be presented? You can't be in a place where you don't see death also amongst the creations of God. This is what the Quran says. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتِ وَالْحَيَاةِ, it says. He is the one who created death and life. The purpose of it is embedded in the verse. لِيَبْلُوكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, so that you move forward to compete, to do the best of actions. It's not in comparison to anybody else. I'm not you and you're not me. We're not the same. But the understanding is not in delusional senses of self, rooted in superiority perspectives, false understandings of grandeur, or delusional senses of insignificance and inferiority that are constantly about me in combat with you. I'm not as good as you, or you're not as good as me. That's not what this deen is about. But an interiority perspective that I look within and I am owning up to what it is that is coming from me, so that the I that I am is not afraid to meet the one that I can be tomorrow. All of it can be taken from this dua. Allahumma innaka afu tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. If you're saying it with an understanding of what it's really asking you to become conscious of and committed to, that day will come upon us, whether we get ready for it or not. When the Hadith Jibreel speaks to us, what is Islam? The angel asks the Prophet, and he tells him of testifying to this deen's basic theologies of one God and a messenger, to perform your prayers, to give your charity, to go in pilgrimage to the house and to fast Ramadan. What is Iman? He tells us the articles of faith, to believe in Allah and His angels, His books, His messengers, the last day, and predestination, the good of it, the bad of it. What is ihsan? An ta'budullah ka'annaka tarah, that you worship Allah as if you can see Him. For you understand, although you cannot see Him, He sees you. Tell me of the hour. The one that is asking of it knows as much as the one being asked. But embedded in these four dimensions are so much. It gives you Islam, pillars, rituals. Islam gives you something to do. It gives you articles of faith, belief, theology, something to have conviction in, this religion. It gives you ihsan, spirituality, something to embody. And when you talk about the last hour from this, it gives you something to get ready for. I was sitting with some students the other night. One of our first year students, Afia, she was trying to convince me that drinking boba is the best thing in the world. I've never drank boba in my life. I also, as I said a week ago, have the palate of a 5-year-old. And so she's telling me she drinks this thing, and she says, you have to drink it before you die. And I said, isn't that serious? And she said, it's the best thing you're going to ever drink. And because she said it was on my bucket list, and she said, you have to drink it before you die, she then looked at me and said, for you, that means you should drink it soon. And I said, what do I look like that I'm going to die soon? But I don't know if tomorrow is going to come upon me. You don't know if tomorrow is going to come upon you too. You can sit in a state and you can just wonder, if you had 5 minutes left in this world, what would you do? And not in a way that is meant to be an exercise that is futile, but you really think that just like the birds who leave their homes in the morning with empty stomachs and they come back with a full stomach with true reliance, making Allah their wakil, this is tawakkul. That's how you've lived for the last week of your life. You come here and you eat and break fast with us or go somewhere, but you know the food is coming from someplace. You got to take it now as an extension by recognizing not just the ni'mah that is given to you, the blessing, but by taking it to a step that many forget to be able to conclude upon, that it's not just about the recognition of the ni'mah, the blessing, but you want to recognize the one that gave you the blessing, al-mun'im, the giver of the blessing. And you want to think about what the hadith means when the Prophet says, لِصَائِمِ فَرْحَتَانِ, that for the fasting person, the sa'im, there are two farhas. Farhatun inda iftarihi, there's a farha, a joy when he breaks his fast. وَفَرْحَةٌ عِنْدَ لِقَاءِ رَبِّي, and there's a joy when he meets his Lord. I wake up sometimes and I wonder, who am I to have been given this gift of Iman? And when our teachers tell us that one of the signs of Iman is that you would hate to go back to a state of disbelief, it's not so that you hate people that are not Muslim. But once you have tasted the sweetness of this deen, why would you want to go anywhere else? If you get up and you just think about, what is this day going to really bring to me that's a benefit of the world that's coming? And what am I filling it with in moments of just things that are not just hurting others, but hurting me? These are the days that you have to think about what's really important and what lies ahead. What does success actually mean? There's not a guarantee for any one of us. I have friends who are my age and friends who are much younger that I was a part of putting them in the earth. May Allah grant them peace and make their graves a place of light and expanse for them. It's not meant to be a morbid reflection, but a spiritual vehicle that allows for us to understand the value of every breath that we have been given in this world and to not engage in foolishness. And when we do, to understand that there is still nonetheless spiritual vehicle that has been given to us, that all you have to do is turn back to the divine. Because he says in Allah, yuhibbu tawabin, that Allah loves those who turn back to Him. Just think on this day of Jumu'ah. Think about at this phase of your life. I'm 40 years old. My adult life, 30 years of that, 25. 25 years, 28 years, 30 years, born into Islam. A book that is going to say every single thing that I did. What's that going to look like? فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Even an atom's worth of good is going to be shown to us. A person comes to the Prophet's wife, radiallahu ta'ala anha, seeking sadaqah. And she gives him just a date in charity, a single date. And they ask her, what's a date gonna do? And she says, is that date not filled with atoms? فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. It's how you see it and how you see yourself. Use these days of Ramadan to think about what lies ahead. Fill it not just with what it is that you feel like is everybody else is doing, but be bold enough to also embrace your own capacity to be a doer of good. We have people in our community who over the years have started things. Our sister Shazia Maiman, every Ramadan, she's taking volunteers right now through her organization called Khair Giver. She's a nurse and she utilized her job to inform things she could do. People bring suhoor and iftar meals to Muslim parents sitting in hospitals whose children are in pediatric wards. Why are you not one of them bringing the meals? I'm not asking you in a judgmental way. I'm asking you to think, why can't it be you too? Why can't it be you who's also using your creativity, your ideas, to think about all of those right now? There's no shortage of actions that can be undertaken. And then you just compare it to this dua and just think, however it is you reflect. Write it on a book. What is it that my limbs will say when I stand in front of Allah? What is it that the earth will say that I did upon it? What are these angels going to say that they witnessed? What are the books that they're writing in going to say? What will be absent of the things that I could have done? I've never met somebody at the end of their life, and I see many people in that stage of their life, may Allah make it easy for them, who said, man, I wish I just had 5 more minutes to go and be mean to somebody. I wish I could go make somebody feel more terrible about how they practice their religion. I wish I had 5 more minutes where I could gossip and lie, where I could be lazy and negligent in the course of my prayer. I wish I had 5 more minutes where I didn't tell somebody I loved them, where I didn't seek forgiveness from someone that I wronged, or I didn't forgive somebody that I could have forgiven. Nobody says, I wish I had 5 more minutes to turn on that TV or scroll through that social media feed or engage in the pursuit of dunya. But when they're in that place and they know their time is coming to an end, they're thinking about very different things. All you have to do within the frame of hisab in our religion is do whatever you feel like doing, but recognize that when you stand in front of Allah, I stand in front of Allah, I'm going to have to explain why I did it the way that I did it. Why did I not let my child marry someone from a different culture? You're going to have to explain it to God. Why did I only invite people from certain backgrounds into my home or to eat with me? You're going to have to explain it. That's what accountability is. Why did I not give my wealth when I was given so much of it? Why did I not use my time in the ways that I could have used it? You don't have to think about it in a self-deprecating way. You don't have to think about it in a way that's self-loathing. You just have to realize that me, you, everybody that's ever existed, we're going to one day stand in front of our Creator. We're going to have to explain why we did it the way that we did it. And in that place, even if we don't want to, it's just going to come out with the truth of it. The limbs will speak about what was done. The earth will speak about what was done. The angels will speak about what was done. The books that they wrote in will speak about what was done. So wouldn't now be the time to think about how you filled those things with that much more that is good, rather than things that are self-serving and just about the acquisition of the dunya? Make this dua in these days of Ramadan. Allahumma innaka afu, that, oh Allah, you are al-afu, the one who forgives. Tuhibbul afwa, you love to forgive. Fa'fu anni, so forgive me. But not just with your tongue, with your heart. Distill for yourself truly what it's calling you towards, a recognition of everything in creation that can bear witness as to the things that were done while we used our time in this world. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll be from amongst those who benefit from the reflection. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسول. Tonight, inshallah ta'ala, we will have a program before Maghrib that is one of the most powerful halaqas we do at our center, where members of our community who are recovering from addiction speak about their journeys in pursuit of their sobriety, and how their vulnerability allows for access to understandings of forgiveness, reconciling things that they did that they should not have done, damage to relationships with families and friends in pursuit of deeply entrenched habits that cause them damage more than anyone, understanding elements of forgiveness that go into seeking it from others, seeking it from the divine, but most importantly, being in a place to wrestle with something that each one of us deals with, whether we want to admit it or not, knowing how to forgive ourselves and dealing with what it was that we have done in the course of our lives. Now, I would recommend quite heavily that each one of us is present here tonight prior to Maghrib at 6 o'clock to both support those members of our community who are going through this as a reality, as well as to just hear from them things that will definitely benefit us and how they utilize their relationship with Allah as a means to find the healing from some of these things that they struggled with. We're continuing to do what we do in this month. You can come break fast with us. There'll be a Sisters Qiyam tonight that you are more than welcome to attend from the time that Salatul Taraweeh ends until Fajr. The opportunity to support us in the breaking of fast for people as per the hadith that tells us of the ajr through which you can only attain by feeding a fasting person when they break their fast. Standing into the nights in prayer, participating in the charity campaigns where we have already, alhamdulillah, raised over $170,000 to support orphans and children in need. But the paradigm shift has to be subjective. You have to ask yourself why you see it the way you see it in order for you to see it the way that your heart needs you to see it. As an opportunity to fill your books, to fill the earth, to fill everything that will testify on your behalf with nothing other than an opportunity to not just say that this servant of yours, Ya Allah, did good, but they showed through their actions that they actually believed in you. And everything that they understood of your promise to be true. So use these days and nights of Ramadan as best as you can. And inshallah ta'ala, they will be a benefit for us throughout every tomorrow we live in this world until the day we stand in front of our Lord in the world beyond this one. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad fil awwaleen wa fil akhirin. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barak wa sallama ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma innaka afuun kareemun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Ya muqallibal qulub thabbit
ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. We begin this supplication in your name, Ya Allah, and beseech you to send your choicest salutations upon your most beloved sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. We ask that you shower your infinite mercy upon this gathering, granting each and every one who is present herein and our loved ones only the best in this world and the best in the next. We ask, Ya Allah, that if all of us are meant to be together only at this time, at this place, whether we are young or old, male or female, regardless of our race, our ethnicity, our social class, our country of origin, our cultural heritage, whether we are Muslim or come from a different walk of life, Ya Rabbi, if our individual hearts are meant to be in the presence of all other hearts that are gathered here, only at this time, at this place, then gather us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. Increase us, Ya Allah, in all that is good. Make us from amongst those who benefit from this month of Ramadan. Let not any one of us choose to leave behind the openings and opportunities that you have given to us for our benefit, but help us to seize those openings for our sake and our goodness. Help us to see what it is that is in front of us and to not let anything go to waste. Make us those who use these days in the ways that you intended for us to use them. Those who use the nights in the ways that you intended for us to use them. Let not any one of us leave this month other than in a state that is better than which we met it in some days ago. And accept from us, Ya Allah, all that it is that we do herein. Help us through this month of Ramadan, Ya Rabbi, to see ourselves the ways that you see us. Let us live the actions of those who understand the reality that we will stand in front of you one day to be taken into account. Let that be an accounting that is done with ease, Ya Allah. Give us entrance into your Jannah by your mercy. Forgive us for not doing the things that we have ability to do. Forgive us for the harm and hurt that we have caused others, and to let us be in a place where we have the opportunity to fix it. Forgive us for not doing that, Ya Allah, when you have given us the time to do so. Forgive us, Ya Allah, for not extending hands to people in their moments of need. Forgive us when we think that the words we are speaking will be pleasing to you, when we are not mindful of how it is that we are causing pain to others. And help us, Ya Allah, to be in a place where when we stand in front of you, we are able to say to the best of our ability that we fulfilled the purpose for which it was that you put us into this world. Let not any one of us leave this state of dunya other than in a state that is most pleasing to you. And help us to be there for each other, to support one another, and to always be a means through which we bring others closer to you. Protect us always from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Forgive us for our shortcomings and guide and bless us all. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وأقيموا الصلاة.